Namo Namaha, masters around the world, and welcome to 7th episode of Quantum Life series. With the blessings of Brahmarishi Pitamaha Patriji and Dr. Sangeeta Nehra ma'am, this journey has become very beautiful and it is more encouraging and supportive because of you all. If you are new to this channel and series, you can watch our previous episodes also. So let us start with today's episode. What is quantum life and why this quantum life series has been started? Quantum life series is an effort to bring back the lost health and spirituality from the humankind and to understand the importance of life and its purpose. And quantum life is lived in the primacy of consciousness with the full awareness and enlightenment towards every aspect of life. It has three attributes: Ayurveda, pyramid, and quantum. So let us start with Ayurveda, the first attribute of quantum life. So we have today Dr. Urja Sachdeva with us, who will be explaining or enlightening us about the Ayurveda perspective of Prakriti and Dosha. Now, please.
Thank you so much, Dr. Khyati, for introducing me. And as we know, today is the seventh episode of our quantum life, and we'll be discussing about the Prakriti and the Dosh in this session. So, let me start with sharing my PPT. So, now we are going to talk about the Prakriti and the Dosh. First of all, before entering into in today's session, let us talk about the previous episodes. If you are new to this, you may see these topics on our YouTube channel, that is PMC Haryanvi. And also, I would like to introduce you the topics of the previous sessions. First of all, we have discussed about the daily practices, what actually we should do in our daily life, and also about the waking up early process, water intake, the cleansing of the body, and about the decoctions. And in the previous session, we talked about the yoga and the meditation, the most important part, I guess. And now we are going to talk about the today's topic, that is Prakriti and Dosha. First of all, as we most of us know that this universe is made up of the five elements: the space, air, fire, water and earth. And as also we know, the five elements is the thing we all are made up of. Like we are about trillion of cells, we are made up of trillions of cells, and we are surviving in this nature, this environment. So we all are made up of our cells, our organs, our each and everything is made up of the five elements that I have already told, that is the space, air, fire, water and earth. So these five elements are the main and the basic constitution of each and everything in the environment, in the surrounding you see. So today we will be talking about the doshas. First of all, the doshas. In Ayurveda there are three doshas, and that three doshas are made up of these elements, with the combination of these elements. So doshas, basically it means the thing that can go out of a whack. When doshas are out of balance with another system, with sorry when doshas are out of balance with one another, the system is bound to lose its own balance. So doshas are the most important thing that one should keep in balance to be healthy. Now let us talk about the three doshas. The three doshas are Vat, Pitta, and Kapha. So Vat is made up of air and the space. By the combination, basically all the five elements are present in each and everything. But the predominancy is of air and space in Vat, and it is the principal kinetic energy in the body. And I am not talking about the pith first, I am talking about the kapha first, that is made up of water and the earth dominantly. And this is the principal potential energy in the body. Now comes the pith. Pith is made up of fire and water. It balances the kinetic and the potential energy in the body. So as I have told earlier, the everything in the universe is made up of these five elements, and these five elements condense to the three doshas. Okay, so let me just introduce to some like vat, pith and kaph. I have introduced you vat, pith, kaph as the five elements dominancy, and now let me tell you that what is the main functions of these vat, pith and kaph in the body. So basically the vat is concerned with the nervous system and the body movements. The pith helps in the digestion and the enzymatic and the endocrine systems. And the cuff is the main thing that controls the body stability and the lubrication. So now let us talk at cellular level. At the cellular level, how these vat, pith and cuff works. The vat moves nutrients in and the waste out of the cells, and the pith, it digests the nutrients to provide energy for cellular function. And now comes the third, cuff. Cuff governs the cell structure. So basically, the cuff is responsible for the structure, shape, and structure of the cell. The pith digests the nutrients, and the vat is responsible for the to keep the nutrients inside and to move the waste out of the cell. So this is the function of the three doshas at the level of cell. Now comes at the level of digestive tract. Digestive tract, in this digestive tract, vat chews and swallows. Like vat helps in chewing and swallowing the food, and it also assimilates the nutrients and expels the waste. Pith helps in the digestion. Like I have already told, the pith is made up of the fire element, fire and the water. So the pith helps in the digestion, and cough, it controls the secretions that lubricates and protects the digestive organs. As we all know that during the process of the digestion, one needs to chew, and then one needs to swallow the food, and then it goes to the stomach and then to the intestine, and the process is, I guess most of us know, most of us knows it very well. So there is the function of all three doshas in each and every activity by the body. But while talking about the digestion, the vat helps in the chewing and the swallowing. Like it helps in the movement, as I have already told, and it is the kinetic energy in the body. So it helps to chew and swallow the food. Then the pith, that is made up of fire and water elements. So fire can be related with the it can be related with the digestive fire or the digestive energy or anything like that. So pith helps in the digestion and also with the endocrine system and the enzymatic system. And the cuff is responsible for the stability in the body, as well as it helps to secrete the secretion for the secretions and to lubricate and protect the digestive organs. So in this way, I have told you the functions of vat, pith, kaph at the physical level, you can say, like as in the cellular and also in the digestive tract. So now I am going to tell you about their functions at the mind level. The vat retrieves the previous data from the memory for comparison with the new data. Like if I see something and I know in my memories I have seen this particular object or anything previously also. So this is the function of vat, that it will retrieve the previous data from the memory for the comparison with the new data. And now comes the pith. Pith processes the new data and draws conclusion, which then vat stores as a new memory. Like if you see a particular thing, then you make a perception and then you store. Like this is the function of pith, that the processing of the new data, and it also helps to draw the conclusion, and then vat helps to store it as a new memory. Now comes the cuff. Cuff helps to maintain the stability. It like cuff provides the stability needed for the mind to grasp a single thought at a time. Like if your mind is not stable, if you are not stable at your mind level or your mental level, so you cannot just concentrate. So cuff is the thing that helps you to concentrate, and it brings the stability in the physical level and also at the mental level. So these three are not substances, these three are the forces present in the body. And also these can be characterized as like vat, pith and kapha we are talking about. And vat, pith and kapha have various characteristics. So these can be characterized as like vat. The main characteristics of the vat is dry, cold, light, irregular, mobile, rarefied, rough. So these are some characteristics of the vat. And now comes the pith. The characteristics of the pith is oily, hot, light, intense, fluid, liquid. So these are the characteristics of the pith. And now comes the characteristics of the kapha, that is oily, cold, heavy, stable, viscous, dense, and smooth. Like already I have told you about the constitution of these doshas with the five elements. So Vat is made up of air and the space. So naturally, it will have the characteristics like the cold, the lightness, the feeling of the lightness, and the irregularity. And the pith contains fire and water. So obviously, the fire will bring hotness and the lightness, and also it contains water. So it will obviously have the fluid characteristic. And the cuff is made up of water and earth, so it will have the characteristics like cold, heaviness, the stability. So these are the characteristics of these vat, pith, and cuff. Now these three doshas are the main thing that controls our physical and also the mental side of the body. So these three doshas should be balanced in the body. And now, as I have already told, that today's topic is dosha and the prakriti. So we will be talking about the prakriti. Prakriti is the constitutional type one has. Like each and every person has a different constitutional type. And these constitutional types are again formed of that doshas. I will be talking about these constitutional types. These are of 8 types. So these constitutional types are the main reason how a person will look like, how a person will think like. So it basically it decides each and everything of a person at physical level, mental level, emotional level, and social level. So these are of 8 types. The first one is Vat, then comes the Pith, and now comes the Kapha. We have already discussed these three as the doshas. And then comes the constitution. Most of us have dual constitutions, and having the single constitution like Vat, Pitta, and Kapha, I think this is a great opportunity if one has Vat, Pitta, or Kapha. So basically, if there is some imbalance or there is any disease, so one knows how to make it in balance. But most of us are in constitution, that is Vat, Pith. In this, there is a predominance of one dosha with the other. Like in the Vat, Pith, Vat will Vat will be predominant. Mostly the symptoms will be of Vat, and also there will be some symptoms of the pith. Same likewise, this it will be in the vat, cuff, then pith, cuff, and there is a constitution of Vat, Pith, and Kaph in some of the people. And eighth comes the balanced one, that is the best one, in which all the three doshas are in balance. So, individuals with three doshas in an imbalanced condition are rarely healthy and must live a very disciplined life to remain healthy or disease free. So, let me tell you the characteristics of the constitutional type Vat. So, how one can judge anyone, like if I want to know my constitutional type or the Prakriti, so I have to just learn about the characteristics of the Vat, general characteristics of the Vat. So, I can just make an estimate that whether I am of Vat Prakriti or Pit Prakriti or the Kaph Prakriti or the constitutional type. So I am going to tell you some of the characteristics of the constitutional type Vat. First of all, the Vat people usually look thin and have trouble going weight. Like if you see a lean and thin person, what I will think that this person is lean and thin. So most probably he is or she is of Vat Prakriti, and then their body is usually narrow, and when they move they make a movement, there is a cracking noise, like sometimes we move and we hear some cracking noise in the joints or anything. Like if this is going to this is happening each and every time or most of the time, then we can think that this is the Vat Prakriti. And mostly the Vat people have the dry skin and their skin chaps easily, and their hairs are the hair tends to be coarse, dry, and curly. Vat people mostly suffer from cold and the poor circulation. The skin is usually cold on touch. Like we have previously talked about the five elements, and Vat is also made up of the five elements with the predominance of air and space. So there is a characteristic that the when you will touch a person of Vat constitutional type, it will feel cold on the touch. And then the Vat Prakriti people sweat a little. Then comes to the appetite. Their appetite is also irregular, and the irregular food habits uh, worsens the digestion. Their digestion is not good. The Vat Prakriti people, the digestion is not good, and also the appetite is irregular. The appetite is the main reason that their digestion is not good, and because of these eating habit or the poor digestion, they also usually suffer from the chronic constipation. So these were the characteristics of the Vat, and also the Vat characteristic people, Vat constitutional type people, suffer, like they feel difficulty with their sleep. They just cannot go to sleep and they have a sound sleep. No, they have a difficulty in sleeping. Now let us talk about the Pith Prakriti. Pure pure Pith constitutional type are pungent, which make them intense, hot, and irritable. They are medium in height, weight, and endurance. Their skin is usually light in color and reddens quickly in sun or after exercise. Like if you see someone whose skin color is light, and whenever they in the sun, like they feel the redness on their skin, or just after the exercise they feel the redness on their skin, so you can have an idea about their constitutional type, like they may be of Pith constitutional type. And also they sunburn easily, and they have plenty of moles, and their hairs tend to be straight and light in color. They usually sweat easily, and they have a good appetite and digest the food well. Obviously, like we were talking about the Pith Prakriti, they are made up of the fire element, fire and the water element. So their digestive power is good because their digestive fire, if the digestive fire is good, obviously their digestion will be good. and they have a tendency to lose stools, and they are rarely constipated. Like in the previous bath constitutional type, I was talking about the irregular food habits and the chronic constipation. So there is nothing like this in the pith prakriti, like pure pith constitutional type. They have a tendency to the loose stools and they are rarely constipated. Now comes the cough constitutional type. The cough constitutional type, like typical cough type people, is a heavy set individual who is a natural athlete when exercising properly, and they remain healthy when they do enough of exercise and do not eat much of that. Cough people sleep soundly and tend to oversleep, and the cough people are stable and somewhat slow. So next time if you see a person who eats too much or sleeps too much and who has a stability in the body, or who is slow at the work or anything he does, so you have an idea about his constitutional type, that he may be of the cough constitutional type. Cough, the cough prakriti people, the cough constitutional type people need motivation and stimulation for each and every time. Like there is a stability in their body, so every time you need to energize them, you need to just push them, like push them in the sense like you just need to motivate them. There is a constant need of that. Now comes the dual constitutions, that is Vat Pith, Vat Kaph, Pith Kaph, and the Vat Pith Kaph. So in this, the one is predominant, as I have already told, that one is predominant, like there is presence of both or the all the three doshas, but there is a predominancy of one dosh. Like in Vat Pith, you will see more of the characteristics related to the Vat and less of the characteristics related to the Pith. But there is a presence of both the doshas, and most of the people, like I am here, and most of the people, we are dual in constitution. So most of the people are dual in nature, dual constitution in nature, and the best one is the balanced. I guess in today's life, no one is with the balanced constitutional type. So today's session was about the prakriti, that is constitutional types, and doshas. So I guess you have a basic idea of, now you have a basic idea of the constitutional type and the doshas present in the body. So you know how to balance each other, or if you don't know exactly, we'll have a session, we'll have a complete session where you can examine yourself, that which constitutional type is yours, you are made up of which doshas, and which is predominant in yourself. So we'll have a uh, complete session related to this in the future. And now here I have a beautiful quote by Dr. Robert E. Svoboda. He says, Ayurveda addresses everything that makes life worth living. Yes, exactly. Ayurveda addresses each and everything, starting from your daily practices, cleansing your body, to the medicine and everything that makes life worth living. So this was my today's presentation, and I hope so you have learned something from this presentation. And you can just, if you have any doubt or any queries, you may write down your questions or the queries or the suggestions or the feedback in the comment section. And now, concluding my today's presentation, I would like Dr. Khyati to continue further. Please, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Dr. Urja, for a wonderful session. So, Prakriti and Dosha, as Dr. Urja has explained beautifully about the concept, the Ayurveda concept of Prakriti and Dosha. And as we, in few time back, we generally ask, what's your zodiac sign or something for breaking an ice between two strangers. Now we tend to ask, what is your body type? Why it is like that? Because Ayurveda is more so popular everywhere. So the Ayurveda perspective of Prakriti and Dosha has become too much prominent. It is need for our to understand ourselves, our body types, what we need and what we don't. So the quantum concept of the uh, Prakriti and Dosha, it's really astonishing to learn this thing, that how quantum physics can explain the Prakriti and Doshas. So it is how, before going into that, we will recap what we have learned about the quantum. We have already learned about the five bodies of consciousness: physical, vital, mental, supramental, and bliss body. Also, we have learned about the quantum self, that bliss body, what is it? And the relationship of the physical and vital bodies, the morphogenetical fields, how we make the physical representation from the vital body, and the quantum energy, how it is used in our day to day life, and how meditation impacts our body. We have already understood these facts. And today we will be learning about the Prakriti and Dosha, the quantum concept. And it is beautifully explained by Dr. Amit Goswami in his book Quantum Doctor. So let us start with this. The biological functions came down to material domain. How it came down? Initially, we will learn that, as I told, these are five bodies, and this bliss body is bringing from there. The consciousness chooses to come up as a physical representation. So whatever our consciousness chooses, it comes down to the bliss body, and to the supramental body, to the mental body, to the vital body, and then the physical representation is made. For example, if I am sitting in front of you with this physical appearance, or what my speech or anything, this is because somewhere before my birth, my consciousness, that one consciousness has chosen, my soul or my consciousness has chosen this to come up like that. Same is with you. So this supramental body, the body of laws or the body of archetypes, it includes the purposive laws of the vital body involving biological functions. Every biological function working inside me or inside you is because that consciousness has chosen it. So the example, maintenance and reproduction, etc. It is all involved inside the supramental body. Then it came to the mental body, and then to the vital body, where the blueprints have been made. Blueprints for making form for biological functions. In the vital body, it is the body of blueprints, the morphogenetical fields. Then it come up to the physical body for making representations of the vital blueprints and programs to carry out the biological functions. This is something very important to understand, that we are not just this physical aspect. This is how we have been made from that consciousness to this physical level. And it is just a representation of what we chose. So, consciousness collapses vital feelings along with the correlated physical organ for its experience of living. We have to remember that our physical bodies are in constant flux, and our cells and organs are being constantly renewed with the help of the food molecules that we eat. We also have to remember that quantum possibilities of the vital body consist of a possibility spectrum of the morphogenetical fields, the blueprints of the vital body. The dynamic laws of the vital body functions and the context of its movement are contained in the supramental. I told you before that from the consciousness to the bliss body, then to the supramental. It is supramental has everything. When we are first making representations, as when the one cell embryo becomes a multicellular form through cell division, our choice of the vital body blueprint is free, and physical representation has a chance to correspond to optimal health under any internal and external environmental condition. In other words, though the vital body function and its laws The supramental archetypes are always the same. We are free to choose a particular morphogenetical field, the blueprint that corresponds to that function. So basically, it is all us who can choose what we need or what we want to experience and bring up to the physical perspective. So, as Dr. Urja has beautifully explained about the Vata, Pitta, Kapha, the Tridoshas, three means three, and doshas, of which are the body, which can go out of whack. So, what actually we have already understood that we have five elements have been responsible for making everything which is physical we see. So these are also made up from the five elements. So vata is the air, but it needs the vessel of ether or empty space to move. Pitta is the fire, but it needs water as a vehicle. And kapha is the water, but it needs the container of earth. So this is how these five elements collaborate to make these three doshas. And these three doshas are not the physical entities. They are not the physical entities, but the energies or the movements. Like vata is the movement, circulation, like circulation of blood or any kind of movement we do. Pitta, the transformative movement, changing of food into another constituents like digestion. Kapha, is the structure or something that binds together, like the lining of the lungs. These are the actually movements or the energies, the subtle energies. These are not the physical entities only. And all these fundamental assumption of Ayurveda, it has actually been important. These are the fundamentals of Ayurveda. Basis of this is Ayurveda is this these three doshas, and this is how they have been made, they have been formed. And all these three doshas comprises and forms the imbalances or balances occurs, and they make the body type or prakriti. What is this? Like vata prakriti, pitta prakriti, and kapha prakriti, or the vata pitta prakriti and vata kapha prakriti or kapha pitta prakriti. And collaboration of all three in a balanced state or in an imbalanced state. So these are 8 types of prakritis that has been made. So balanced Vatvita Kapha Prakriti is really rare to find in this scenario, in this perspective. And what about the quantum concept? How quantum came into this three doshas? How can we relate the quantum? Before that, let me tell you that Ayurveda allows us to the movements of the vital body. Why? Because Ayurveda is the vital body medicine. It understands the subtleness, and of the energies. It understands the fact that it is not all what is physical. There is something which is delving into us like a vital body. It understands the blueprints. So Ayurveda allows us to be in the movements of a vital body, the movements of the mental and the supramental as well, all grounded in the consciousness, which is the ground of all beings. We all know that consciousness is the ground of all beings, and there lies infinite number of possibilities from which we choose. The consciousness chose, and we came out as the physical body. The physical body forms the cells and organs of the body are representations of vital body blueprints, as we understood it initially, which Ayurveda also recognizes. And also in all recognizing, Ayurveda is able to point out more ways that a person can get sick. It's not just only some outer perspective is going to, or like bacteria or virus is going to make you sick. It is something more inside you that can make you sick also. And as it is that all non-physical morphogenetical fields around our, even around one organ, we have those morphogenetical field present around us. That is why they are working. So in deep level Ayurveda, illness can also be the result of faulty nature, of faulty movements of the blueprints of the vital body. And clearly, unless you correct the fault at the vital level, you can never make organ representations correspond properly to carry out your vital function in a way that corresponds to the physical health. So we really need to understand this vital body concept. And this balance of vital body is very, very, very important. And Ayurveda makes it possible. This is the quantum concept. And this is how we will be merging the Ayurveda and quantum. And as we know that we choose in the consciousness chooses the possibilities, the ocean of quantum possibilities are there, and we chose and come up as a physical body. There is one more thing which add on to it, and that is the karma or reincarnation. We'll understand about it in further slides. But before that, about the three doshas, the vata, pitta, kapha. As I told that about that first making representations in the embryo cells. There are so many things happening. The embryo is only one cell, but it knows from that only embryo we tend to have this more complex human body, or any kind of another animal is made from that single cell embryo, that embryo only. This is how the consciousness or the vital bodies work, that it gives them makes the morphogenetical fields. That vital body is the body of the blueprints for any all organs. It makes blueprints for brain, it makes blueprints for liver, it makes blueprints for lungs. And this is how that single embryo is turned up into a human or a baby, or a human baby or an animal baby or anything. And in all these things we have a choice. We have a choice at every time. We have that freedom, and that freedom of choice to which the vital body blueprint will be used for the physical representation making is exerted according to the context of the external and internal environment of the particular physical body under construction. Of course, even at this stage, problems may arise, diseases can be there because of some reasons, but still we have that creativity perspective. We can challenge the environmental conditions also, if we want to, in that condition, in that perspective or consciousness perspective. And as this is the fact, beauty of creativity, that we can be creative in choosing something else. We will be not be under learning about these things like going into the past experiences. No, we can be creative and choose a new way. And with this creativity, we can even overcome some of the shortcomings of the genetic predispositions or malnutrition, and even the environmental problems such as bacteria or viruses. That is why children, small children, they are much more healthier. Nowadays, it is possible that children suffer so many of the congenital diseases and everything, but most of the children are much healthier than the adults. The reason is that they tend to find creativity in every kind of condition. See the children, see the nature of children. They're totally into the bliss. They're always into the bliss. If you understand their innocence, they are always creative. But on the way to adulthood, by which time our physical bodies have been renewed many times, something is called conditioning that occurs. And that conditioning compromises our creativity. Of course, it will compromise our creativity. And when this happens, we have to be in a balanced situation. This conditioning is the result of the modification of probabilities to gain more weight for previously collapsed possibility, a past response. It is due to the reflection of the mirror of memory. It isn't required. I don't say conditioning is not required, but only to a limit it is okay. With conditioning, we no longer possess the leeway to choose our vital blueprints to suit the environmental situations. Instead, we become predisposed to use the same blueprint that we have used before. And when this happens, we will only be in there. We will be not creative. We should be creative at times. That is why one can survive. The survival of fittest is not because that one person is continuously using the same thing or pass the same response. No, it is by the fact you adapt, you change yourself. This changing is creativity. Changing for your survival. This is the creativity. This is how environmental conditions have been can be adapted, can be challenged, or we can be adapted through those. So these three qualities of vital body, as I told you that there is a conditioning and something else. There is one more thing, like in an alternative. Often, as we renew our body, we use more than one vital blueprint of a vital function to make the physical representation for that vital function. If so, both blueprints will be part of our vital repertoire. Suppose that in subsequent case of organ making, certain new environmental challenges are present that require a creative response. In this case, even though consciousness may not be able to choose a response, a vital blueprint, entirely outside the learned repertoire, it is still may meet the environmental challenges partway by choosing a blueprint that is combination of relevant blueprints learned in the past. This is called the situational creativity. What you do in that present situation when you cannot create something new. It is not always that you have to go uh, into the new only. You can be creative in a new form only. No, with whatever you have, you can still be creative, and that is called the situational creativity. And these three things, the ability to creatively shift the choice of vital blueprint for making a particular from depending on the context. This ability or quality of fundamental creativity is called tejas in Ayurveda, or we can say it as pitta. This we in a fundamental means a basic. We can just change completely. We will change. This is the creativity, or in Ayurveda it is called as tejas, or we can relate to as pitta. And the ability to choose a new combination of previously learned context of vital blueprints to make form. This is called the prana or vayu or vata. That's the situational creativity I talked. You have all these same things, but you are still making something new out of it. It is the situational creativity. And the ability to respond via most conditioned vital blueprints is called ojas or kapha, because the kapha is something which brings the stability. It's the potentiality which is really needed. Conditioning is needed. A mirror of memory is needed, but only to a certain perspective. Everything, if these three creativities or situational creativity, fundamental creativity, and conditioning remains balanced, then only we will be having a optimum health. Any of this will be more or less, then it will create to be ill health. And all these three are needed for a proper optimum functioning of the vital physical bodies. Any imbalance will cause the defects. Any imbalance occurred, it will call the defects at the physical level, because it is the quality of vital body. And at the physical level, it will create defects if it is not in a balanced situation. If there is too much stages on or fundamental creativity in building of the body organ with the help of the vital morphogenetical fields, it results in the pitta type of body. Use of too much vayu or situational creativity at the vital body level gives us vata type of body, and too much ojas produces the kapha type. These doshas are the waste product of these vital bodies. Now, this is really very interesting to understand that yes, these three qualities of the vital body, and then these vata pitta kapha comes. And from these three, situational creativity, fundamental creativity, and conditioning, it will make those. Basically, it is the subtle energies. And another way of looking at this is to see tejas as the transformative and vital energy, an excess use of which produces the preponderance of metabolism in the physical makeup. of the body and thus the dosha of pitta. Similarly, an excess of vayu, excessive and fickle vital movements within known contexts translates as the dosha of vata, whose main characteristics are movement, fickleness, and changeability. An excess use of ojas, subtle conditioned movements of the vital body, translates into preponderance of the dosha of kapha, whose main characteristics is the stability and the structure. This is how all this is made from vital to the physical level. We cannot still watch the vata pitta kapha by the naked eyes or any form, but we can understand with the symptoms, with the characteristics that vata is raised, pitta is raised, or kapha is raised, or it is less. It is possible with the symptoms. So now the I now Prakriti, how it is came from, how we find that there are imbalances in it, why it is only vata, pitta, or kapha, or vata pitta only, or pitta kapha only. Why these imbalances are there? It is because of the reincarnation. As I told you that there is another point, it is the reincarnation. Now it is really not acceptable to most of the people, but still in this present era, reincarnation has been accepted. Reincarnation is the part and parcel of all Eastern systems of thought, and Ayurveda is no exception. The study of reincarnation falls within the purview of science, since the demonstration of the existence of reincarnation powers the existence of the so-called subtle bodies, especially the vital and mental. The stimuli we experience in our lives and our responses to them produce brain memory. When the stimulus is repeated, the quantum possibility of a response is more heavily weighted toward the previous response. And this is called the quantum memory of brain's response pattern. And since the mind is correlated with brain, the mind also develops the quantum memory of its conditioned habit patterns. In this quantum memory, the modification or conditioning of the mind as we live it, that is reincarnated. Now, the inheritance of these modifications of the mind from previous life, called karma, in Eastern thoughts has been empirically demonstrated, giving further credence to the idea of reincarnation. And this is how the karma plays a role in making this physical body. Reincarnation, we reincarnate, we come in, our souls need to do something in every life, in each life. We came here for the experiences. And after taking one experience, we will go again back to the soul world, the spirit world, and then again came back to for getting some new experiences. And this is how the birth death cycle continues until we achieve the moksha, we achieve the jnana, we achieve the enlightenment. And in all these things, the prakriti or these doshas are important at this physical level. For a physical representation, we really need all these things. And this is how a prakriti is made. And this is how this prakriti works. So I will conclude my session with this beautiful message of Dr. Amit Goswami sir, given in the Quantum Doctor, that Ayurveda is a quantum medicine and an Indian version of vital body medicine designed for individuals. So it is not that Ayurveda is something else or quantum is something else. These are totally intermingled, related to one another. We will meet in next episode also with the conversations of quantum life masters. And now we will learn something more about the pyramids. Now, as we learned about the Prakriti and Doshas, the last attribute has which is called pyramid. We will be learning about that also.
Thank you so much, Dr. Khyati, for a wonderful session regarding the quantum and also the correlation somewhere between the quantum and the Ayurveda. Thank you so much for this wonderful session. And I would also like to know something about the pyramids from you. So, ma'am, please could you just explain the some bit of pyramids to us?
Yes, of course. Now, as it is the third attribute about the quantum life, pyramid is really important. So, we will be learning about pyramids today also. But before that, let us recap what we have learned in previous sessions. We have already learned about the importance of pyramids, why we should use them, and the uses of pyramids in our exterior environment or an interior environment, like our offices, our homes, or um, anywhere in the public places, and about the pyramid water, the healing qualities of the pyramid water, and the uses of pyramid in kitchen, and about the pyramid meditation, why it is very important to meditate under a pyramid. We have already learned all these things, but today we will get to understand the sum of the scientific researches on pyramid. We speak that we should use pyramid in our homes, in our offices, and anywhere in our kitchens. But are there any scientific researches on it? Of course, they are. Before that, let us understand what is a pyramid. Pyramid literally means fire in the middle. A pyramid is a structure or monument, usually with a quadrilateral base, which rises to a triangular point. As you can see, fire in the middle means energy into the center, energy within. And the pyramid is the structure or monument with a quadrilateral base, and it is rising to this triangular point, and this is called the apex. The pyramid, with its apex being the central singular point for receiving the energy, becomes most symmetrical of all structures with the maximum capacity to receive energy. Hence, they are called the storehouses of energy. That is why they are called the storehouses of energy. And inside this pyramid, at this one-third level, the king's chamber is there, and this king's chamber will actually what it does, it has the immense energy in it, and anything kept there, or if you just meditate at that place, you will really feel the immense energy in yourself, getting into yourself. This is the beauty of pyramid. And a pyramid, with its as I told you that it is the storehouses of energy. The earth being a pulsating life force collects the energy force across its axis, which is tilted at an angle of 51 degree, 51 minutes and 51 seconds, approximately 51 degree and 52 minutes. Pyramids constructed at this angle are able to receive the maximum energy in comparison to other structures. Any other structures, this is the golden angle, and it is really important to keep this angle 101% accurate, because if it is not that much accurate, you will not get that energy of the pyramid. That bliss of a pyramid is not be achieved. So pyramid power, as we all know about the Great Pyramid, the Pyramid of Giza, it is situated at this place from above the equator, earth equator, and this is the latitude, and this is the elliptical arc, the earth equator to the center of pyramid. What happens is that the 8 corners of points of the embedded cuboid are here connected by a series of the great circles. 2 corner points from one hemisphere are connected to those in the adjacent hemisphere within the ellipsoid earth form. Now, this is the pyramid, and if you see, this is the one circle, this is the second circle, this is the third circle, this is the fourth circle. This is how, and same is here. This is how these hemispheres are, these circles are being made. These are called the great circles, and it is actually balancing or maintaining this earth's forces. the Great Pyramid of Giza is actually spreading the whole of the energy, whole of the positive energy to all the earth. And it is really very much helpful in every kind of perspective. That is why mummies have been kept inside those great pyramids and they are not damaged. Now, about the scientific researches. We have various scientists who have researched on these pyramids. Dr. G. Patrick Flanagan was also one of the scientists who researched on pyramids and got the miraculous results. He he explained all these experiments in his book Pyramid Power. Two books have been written by Dr. G. Patrick Flanagan with the name of Pyramid Power, in which he has explained all the experimental designs and the researches he had done. What he has done is that the units of the experimental design of pyramid investigations consisted of plants, human test subjects, pieces of meat, and other biological entities. An experimental unit is defined as the physical entity on which an action or treatment of some kind is imposed. In the present instance, there were three treatments. Three treatments were there: pyramid, cube, and it was uncovered. All these experimentals, the plants, the human test subjects which were taken up, they were treated with three things like pyramid and under the cube, and they were left uncovered also. You can see those in pictures. And then few of the tests were made. These are the results, but I will be explaining you what actually was the research. In first, the growth rate of bean sprout or black eyed peas and lima beans. What actually happened is that number of beans were placed upon a sponge which has been soaked with prescribed amount of water and covered with a wet paper towel. Sponges were assigned randomly to locations and treatments also assigned randomly to the locations. And pyramid and cubes and structures were sealed from the atmosphere with duct tape. After 5 days, length of the bean sprouts were measured, and the result was that the growth rate of black-eyed peas and the lima beans is increased at the probability level of chance results from 0.06 to 0.28. Means there was a really good change in the length of the beans. And number two is the raw hamburger meat is relatively preserved. It was actually preserved. The 10 gram of fresh hamburger meat was placed in each of the 12 petri dishes, and the dishes were divided into 4 blocks, 3 dishes per block. Treatments were assigned randomly. Pyramid and cube was sealed with duct tube to table for no escape to air. After 5 days, observations were made. Dishes were observed by various random individuals and were shifted on tables. Results was like raw hamburger meat is relatively preserved at probability level of chance results of 0.001. It was a high probability level because at this point it means it was totally preserved. And this is how the beans can be preserved. The plants get those impact of pyramid energy, and the flesh or the meat is also getting that energy of for the preservation. And then the growth rate of the bacteria. A bacteriological growth was also checked. A throat culture was taken and placed in test tube with the liquid culture material and allowed to grow for 2 days in a 90-degree Fahrenheit heated room temperature. This resulted in growth of bacteria randomly distributed throughout the liquid. 6 blocks of culture material consisting of glucose and sheep's blood was inoculated. A special inoculation tool was used for this. And the tool composed of a wire rod with a small loop at the end was dipped into the liquid culture and then placed on the culture material in a repeated pattern. The pattern was the square of a small tangent circles formed by placing 5 circles on the side, making a pattern of 25 small circles. One more loopful of bacteria was placed within this pattern around which equally as possible. And all this was done randomly, and it was divided into blocks, and then 3 treatments were given, and the growth rate of bacteria is decreased. The throat bacteria probability of chance result at 0.05, and the yeast bacteria uh, the throat bacteria was actually decreased at that time. And also it was the same experiment was done on the yeast bacteria.
Thank you so much, Dr. Khyati, for wonderfully explaining about the pyramids and about the researches what have been done by the researchers. And wonderfully, you have explained the researches. Thank you so much for enlightening us with your knowledge and about the researches done by the researchers. So now the time has come to conclude today's session, and I would like to conclude today's session with a 5 minute session of meditation. So I would request all of you to just take relax from your whatever work you are doing. Just sit for 5 minutes, cross your legs, cross your hands, and close your eyes and remove the spectacles if you are wearing. And now we'll have a meditation session for 5 minutes. And also, I would request Sumit sir to play the music for the meditation. So please, everyone, close your eyes. Just breathe in and breathe out. Just feel the positivity coming inside you and all the negativity going outside your body. Just focus on your breath. Your breath is coming and it's going. Just feel the energies, the positive energies around you. If there is any random thought in your mind, just forget about that and concentrate on your breath. Focus on your breath. Your breath is coming and going. Last 1 minute. Focus on your breath. Your breath is coming and going. Feel the positivity with the music and feel everything to be very positive around you. Last 30 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now gently put your palms on your eyes and feel the positivity inside you. So now I would like to conclude today's session with this. And thank you so much for watching today's episode. And stay connected, stay tuned for the further episodes of Quantum Life, that is the mixture, that is the combination of quantum, Ayurveda, and pyramids. Thank you. Here, Dr. Urja Sachdeva signing off. Thank you and have a nice day.